Hello, it's Sunday, December the 12th, 2021, and today's Blue Crystal Night Day. So, a lot to share with you. So, I'm going to do a series of videos, I think, at this hugely intense time. So today we're here. Blue Night is the third Mayan sign. It's the co-creation sign. And in the zodiac, we're coming up to the full moon in Gemini, which is the third astrological sign. So just overlapping these systems again. So today is the 12th of the 12th. And so coming into clarity, the 12th Blue Night code. Had some amazing revelations over the past couple of weeks about going deeper with the code. So thank you very much to my co-creator Maxine for helping me go deeper with this. And this is what I love about In Lakesh, I Am Another You. Also want to say a big thank you to Matt as well, who this is his Wavespell. And so we've been sharing thoughts and ideas around where we are, different perspectives, different lenses on how we are using this amazing tool. And this is what I love about co-creating with people and mapping energy. So just a little tip there, if you know what your Mayan sign is and you know what somebody else's Mayan sign is, you can combine them together and you can see what you're co-creating together in the bigger scheme of things as to your joint Mayan sign. You can do this with groups of people whenever I do workshops, whenever I'm with a group of people. So for example, going on holiday, you can do this as well and see what your combination is, your alchemy together, what you're looking to create. So it's just limitless what you can do with this amazing, amazing matrix. And of course, we've got the matrix coming out soon as well, or it's already out. I think it's going into cinemas. It's going to be screened soon. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that as well. It's an amazing time, so it's a challenging time. And today I'm going to begin with going back a couple of days. I've been intending to make some videos and do some blogs, but I've been unwell. So I've had to rest and really focusing on what's coming into my body around over many, many months now. The same for all of us, manifesting in different ways, and how I have to be really, really careful about my energy right now and what I connect to. Lots of challenging information coming up, let's put it that way, around how people perceive the situation right now. So yeah, just noticing that when I focus on certain things, how that manifests in my body and how I want to stop doing that. So making those changes as a conscious dreamer. And that's what today is all about. It's about Saturn. It's about learning what creates a joyful experience for us and doing more of that and healing what doesn't. So just to go back, as I said, a couple of days to number 10. So number 10 is Red Planetary Dragon. So we're seeing the manifestation a couple of days ago, and that was really key for me, that manifestation around survival issues, base chakra, being teed off with things that are happening and resistance to what is, basically. Neptune is the planet. So we've got Neptune at 20 degrees of Pisces. That's really, really key at the moment. And that's going to have a big part to play over this coming week astrologically, in particular, because, of course, we're going into the center of the Zolkin. So we'll come back to that in a moment. We're going in here into the blue. And again, I've been working out some code today, the past few days, not sure exactly what it means right now, but I will be sharing what I see and my perception with the astrology as well. So we just stick with each 20-day process, okay, is taking us from what the Great Mother is bringing us right down to the 20th Mayan sign, which is the sun. And the sun is what it's all about. In particular, this placement here, which is when we finish the matrix of 260 degrees, that initiated in a particular astrological vibration. Of course, we begin it all over again and go back up to the top here, which is also, you can see these dark signs are Akashic record portal days. And so again, love the synchronicity, just been working with my partner around his mum, and she is yellow cosmic sun, so very significant. I have another friend who's yellow cosmic sun as well. And so yeah, that's what it's all about, really, is the shift of the shadow story. That's what yellow cosmic sun's about, over and over and over again, until we get completely clear, and then we're free to live emotionally free, interdependently instead of codependently. So each one of these that we go down has a code. And what I worked out this week as well, this is my 11th year of working with this calendar, and I work with it intuitively, experientially. So for some people, they read about this stuff, and a lot of people ask me, oh, what should I read, etc. So yes, I can make recommendations, but the whole point of this is that it's about developing our gifts, remembering who we are, unlearning the conditioned mindset. So learning how to work intuitively and get back in alignment with the planets, the cycles, the circles, the spirals that we are naturally attuned to. We've gone out of this attunement because we've been following a 12-step calendar that was created by Pope Gregory. And so that takes us out of sync with our natural state of being. This is a natural law of time. And if you follow it every day and tune in and start to listen to your heart and your gut and other body parts rather than your head and your intellect, then you start to get different messages. Okay, so my message this week that I noticed, as I said, experientially, is I'm starting to get a lot more into the numbers now. And what I noticed was, as we go into the spiral, of course, if you go across the 13 tones, you've got 1, 8, 2, 9, for example, at the top. But if you take out the middle column, you've then got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's took me 11 years to work that out. Don't take that in any way, shape, or form as meaning that's how long it's going to take for you to learn anything about this, because I know so much more than that. But I just trust that when I learn about these things, like, for example, my original calendar I had on the wall for 4 years before I noticed that it had another little calendar at the bottom that had the 13 clear signs on. Didn't know what that was, but when it was the right time for me to start learning about it, I noticed it, and then I started to Google and do the research. So this is key, working experientially so that you start to work in sync. Okay, so not really sure what that means yet. So if anybody does know what that means, then please do get in touch with me or comment underneath the video and let me know I'm sure that it will come to light because I am mapping some code for the next cycle that's coming up that I'm going to come back to in a moment. Okay, so this is the initiator. And so as we go across, you can see that for each Mayan sign, there are 13 different what are called tones or vibrations. So different expressions of red dragon. So if you are a red dragon, and first of all, you are red and you are an awakener, because that's what red is. And the red castle is all about awakening. And the planet that goes with that, each Mayan sign has a planet and they're twinned. So red dragon and white mirror both have the planet Neptune. And one level of this is once we start to remove our delusions and illusions, our coping mechanisms of our ego, then we can start to go into the deep esoterica. So in a mystery school terminology, as an initiate, we're awakened, and then we start to go through a process. So this is what I offer you. We're all going through a very big mystery school process on planet Earth right now, and it's a process that we need to go through in order to go to the next level of human consciousness. So even though it might be challenging, take heart, because it's a necessary part of our process. And any person who's been awake for a while and been through several challenges, you will know that this is essential and tough, but it's about stripping the ego and healing and coming into a different learning about ourselves in that process. So each one of these goes through a different number, and they're not in chronological order, as I've just pointed out, because it's a spiral. So every 20 days, we revisit our Mayan sign in some way and on a different vibration. And again, if you were to make a model of the Earth, you can wrap this around it. And this central column actually goes down onto the equator. So there's so many different ways that this works. Each one of these relates to a time in history as well. If you want to learn more about that, read The Mayan Factor by Jose Aguelis, and that goes into great depth there. A lot of that went over my head initially, so I've reread it several times, and I'm going to be sharing more about that with the people who are working with Red Serpent 52-day process with me. So if you're interested in doing that, please do get in touch and I can share more info about what this is going to mean. This is about relationship, basically, and going into lots of Akashic record to change our storyline and how we relate to ourselves. That's the most important thing. So for each line, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And each one of those has a vibration and then meets up at the bottom with yellow sun. And yellow sun is always one behind, so it's following on. So you can see that it begins with 7 there. And then it goes on to number 1. So it's just slightly lagging behind Red Dragon, which begins at 1. So at the moment, we are on number 6. And so this happened on Friday, which is the 10th. And this actually synchronizes with the Gregorian calendar because this is number 10. So when it's a number 10, 2 lines, and again, if you want one of these, you can put one of these off. It gives all the codes down there. It is complex. I know all these different things to learn, and I forget this sometimes because I've been doing it for a long time. But if you go onto flowwithjo.com and you go on resources, there is a Mayan Synchronizer on there. This is one that I've made myself, and you can print it off and you can laminate it. And then you can just start moving the blue tack every day, which is what I did 11 years ago on the 2nd of November, and intend that you want to connect with the universe and learn new ways of being. So we see the manifestation of what happened here in the beginning, and this particular cycle started on the 1st of September. So we're now seeing where we are in this Virgo, how to change your mindset and connect to the mindset of the sacred feminine and really begin the purification of healing your old story, healing your personality construct, which of course has been created through our personal experiences and our biology, our genealogy, our environment, how we've been brought up, etc., and our culture. And of course, all of those things, we are on one level, and it's a choice of how we want to, whether we keep that or not. Also, this is about our spiritual journey now. So for those people who are awake and are doing a spiritual journey, and this is working on the inside so that we come into a more loving, respecting place of relationship for ourselves. So healing all those times when we haven't felt loved and respected, and changing how we relate to others so that we choose now to be around people who are loving and respecting to us. And usually that means that they're awake and they're on a conscious journey themselves. That's very important. So today, like I say, as you can see, we're on day 4. So we're seeing how clear are we of the old hell story. Because remember, when we incarnated, and up until very recently, most people were not consciously aware that they were responsible for creating their life through their choices, through their belief system, and that the universe has to bring us what we believe to be true on many levels. So when we believe that life is hard, that people are not loving and respectful, then often that's what is manifest in our life. Because the reason that we believe that is because we've experienced it up to now. So this number 10, the manifestation, we're seeing what are our delusions, what are our illusions, how are we veiling what we see, how are we distorting what we see, what are we awakening to around that now, what is the real truth. And if we are at a point of going beyond surviving into thriving, and then as we go down, you can see this column that we're going to go down. Well, first of all, tomorrow is the last day of this wave spell. So we're seeing how much of a starseed we're going to be. What's the shift? That's going to be what's happening tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, we go into the blue castle. So we work with everything that we've awakened within the red, everything that we've been refining over the past 52 days in the white. We then go into the blue castle and we go down. And all of these 10, one after another, Akashic record in Sagittarius energy, which is about Akashic record. It's about our belief systems. And then down the bottom to number 3, which is yellow electric sun. So alchemy of the shadow story. Now, on that day of the beginning of this cycle of 20, where we're going to be, by the time we get down to the bottom. The cards that I got for that day were Blue Hand. This is going to be pivotal in the next wave spell. So Blue Hand, shaping our destiny. And this was in the first castle, the Red Castle. So this would have been the first 26 days of, so round about the 27th of September, I think, should be the right day, because it ran chronologically then as well, in terms of the Gregorian calendar. So what was going on for you back then? And I know what was happening for me. It was huge, absolutely huge journey for me at the end of September. The Sun. So I'll put a link on, as I always do, under the bottom of the video to say more about the Sun. As you can see, that is the 19th card, which relates to Blue Storm, actually, in terms of the Mayan numbers. I'm going to just share the screen with you. I'm sharing the screen with you. So the Sun represents collecting intelligence and the 12 signs of the zodiac in particular. And as always, this goes into huge depth, which you can have a look there if you want to go into it's an excellent website for showing you all the information there. So again, this is about the personality and how we can actually change the personality if we choose. It's also about the collective intelligence of the Sun. In terms of the Mayan, it's the galactic Sun that is at the center of the universe, that is beaming down the evolutionary code that we are here to evolve with. Just scrolling down. So again, it's about unlearning in a lot of ways our conditioned mindsets and coming into truth and taking our power back, becoming empowered. So partnership, cooperation, teamwork, new cycle of life, growth, reward, truth and progress, divine marriage, which is again working on the inside. So that we create change on the outside. So I'm just going to pull a card for today. So whatever you've been experiencing today, notice what feels good, what feels clear of your old story, and living in a light place, in a healthy place, in a beauty place. That's what we want to expand on, because that's our true birthright, our nature. Okay, so the card that I just got is Red Serpent. So this cycle is going to be very, very powerful with this full moon in Gemini coming up. So I've been looking at the astrology this morning and checking out my family dynamic. It's going to really affect my Jupiter in Gemini at 25. And mastery of communication, relationship. And it's the exact degree of my mum's Sun and Mercury. So we had a chat about that this morning. So this is key for her. And she's a Red Serpent and she's in my Wavespell. And she's a red resonant serpent. So the things that have resonated for her, how they've affected me on every level. So how she has been my mum. My dad was also a Gemini as well, but he was right on the cusp of Cancer, so a different energy. Okay, so Thoth for today. Failure, 7 of discs. Again, that's a very powerful image. And so shaping our destiny around what we deem to be failure. So I'm just going to bring that up. Just going to try and share the screen again. So I'm not sure that it shared last time. Anyway, this one has, so there we go. A pause in the garden of financial health and physical relationship, a fear of failure or fear of success, which is generated by negative past experiences. So this is crucial to this time. This is Saturn in Taurus. And so again, because Blue Night is about Saturn, this is linked in. This is also linked into the future energy coming in. The next cycle is going to be 260 degrees initiated in Taurus. It's going to see the manifestation. And also we've got the North Node going into Taurus as well in January. This is going to bring significant energy because the Taurus Scorpio axis is about power struggle often around what's manifest and what needs to be let go of. Death and rebirth with Scorpio also links into when we're in Scorpio energy before Sagittarius and what was happening then as well. So limited energy, and so Taurus, it's telling us here, is representative of productivity and achievement. So our productivity and achievement are being restricted and limited by our fear of failure. I think there's so much going on that's so much deeper than that as well, isn't there, at the moment? A feeling of failure that interferes with our financial situation and how that's being constructed. And yet it could just be a pause. So remembering at this time of year as well, the more that we align with the circles and the cycles, this is a time of regeneration and rest and healing, so that when we get back to spring, that's the time when we really need to be going out onto the land. So often this is a time where the seeds go underground and, you know, like we might be planting bulbs at the moment and waiting for those seeds to start to germinate in the months to come. So we're coming up to the shortest day of the year, of course. And so most of our Western ways are out of alignment with the natural circle and cycle of things. So we get burned out, basically, and okay, so in the next 7 weeks or 7 months, the more rewarding path will be discovered and the period of waiting is over. You will have to confront your fear of failure in the next 7 weeks or 7 months in order to plant anew and reap a more generous harvest in your future. So again, it's looking back at times in the past, maybe around this time of year as well, which is very significant for me personally because it's a time when my daughter was born. So my daughter's a double Sagittarius, my mum's a double Gemini. And again, realizing that, of course, at the time that she was born, my mum was going through her full moon culmination. This is a huge time on planet Earth. And the astrology this week is tying in with the Mayan. And of course, we began a new code in 2012 at the winter solstice. So again, it's 9 years, isn't it, coming up to that code. And so we're going through a gateway on that level as well, into a new level of existence. And of course, a lot of the old ways are falling apart now. So tomorrow we have the last day of this wave spell, and again, mapping these codes has just been mind-blowing for me because I can actually relate this to my 13-year cycles. And this was very much me as a young child, beginning school and then going through the whole school process and coming out the other side in that 13 years. And what you can also do is map other people's code as well and see how they fit into your cycles. You know, this is limitless. It just gives you amazing laser-like information. Yellow Seed's planet is Jupiter, and tomorrow we'll be at 21 degrees of Sagittarius. We've got Mercury going into Capricorn and we've got Mars going into Sagittarius. So we've got a big shift going on there. Now, if you relate this to the Mayan template, Mercury is red moon, and so this is going to be very significant coming up with the Red Serpent, because there's a matrix right in the middle, which is about the shift of DNA changes. We're still in red overtone moon, and so that actually on the day before the full moon, it is red overtone moon day. So this is huge. So yeah, just checked that. Actually today we're in the very last day, red overtone moon. So remember we started this cycle of red moon 13-month process back on the 26th of July. So this calendar stays the same every year. And so for the first 28 days after the 26th of July every year, we have magnetic moon. Now, if you're a Leo like me, then this is key for you. That's your feminine energies initiating authenticity and being the beacon of light. energy, heart path, heart warrior, healing the heart, and being you, whatever that is. It's a movable feast, and that's what we learn when we start going deeper into this path, is we're trying to discover, going down deep into the underworld, which is what we do at the autumn equinox every year. We go down to mine that gold, that sovereignty, and find out who we really are rather than who we've been told that we are. With Chiron in Aries, this is really key as well, because this cycle is all about redefining the hero and heroine story on a personal level. It's rewriting the narrative. Remember that most of our beliefs have been shaped in childhood by people who were not of the light. They weren't conscious, they weren't aware often of what they were doing. Forgive them for they know not what they do. Often people being very critical, thinking that that was a good thing, that would be helpful to a child, when the truth is loving encouragement is key, because a child does not have an adult viewpoint. It doesn't understand where the adult is coming from. It's impossible for the child to have that intellectual awareness. And so people that I've worked with in the past with their children, where they've been having issues with their children, it's reminding them of this. They don't see the world the way that you do. They don't have that experience yet. And so to be kind and loving as much as possible, and not shout at people, because it creates deep wounding just as much as physical punishment does. People often say, oh, well, it never did me any harm. But again, without having that conscious awareness that actually, for a child, the world, their parents are gods. And if they do anything that upsets their parents, this is deeply fearful for a child on many levels, because they are dependent on their parents as well. So healing the heart is fundamental. Learning how to be loving and respectful is absolutely one of the most important things. And coming from a genuine place, though, remember that authenticity, being authentic, not coming from a people-pleasing place. So whatever initiated for you at magnetic moon time, the 26th of July this year, people under enormous pressure psychologically with everything that's happening on the planet. And again, this can be really challenging. Remember, it's a bigger picture process that we're going through, where people can see where they're being authentic or not, and what happens when they go down a route of being inauthentic, first and foremost to ourselves. In the second moon, which is in Virgo Sun, we have the critical mindset, conditioning, shadow, the new learning coming in around all of that, and also how in tune we are with the sacred feminine, the old ways, the very old ways in the matriarchal cycles of being in balance with the masculine and feminine, and being cooperative, what is good for all rather than what is good for the individual, consumer or corporate or ego, over above everything else stance, competitive and duality patterns. So remember that in a lot of sporting scenarios, for example, this is very much where the ego is coming out and it is being shown it's okay to be aggressive, it's okay to win, and therefore somebody else must lose, and identifying with tribes, teams, rather than focusing on yourself. In the third moon, we have the alchemy of the first two, and this is in Libra, going down into the equinox, underworld that we go into every year. So this is again matching Venus code as well. It's the Persephone path, if you want to Google that. I've been doing groups every year. This is the first year that I haven't done a Persephone path group actually, and I have missed it. So just Google her if you don't know anything about her. And this links in with our North Node in the chart, which we have every 18 and a half years approximately. The North Node of the Moon, and of course on the planet at the moment, that is in Gemini, and this will be shifting very soon. So think back to the time when the Twin Towers went on the planet, that September day in 2001. Then it was Gemini North Node as well. Think about what you were doing then. This completed around about 2003. So think about what was happening for you then, and most importantly, what's happened next. I'm going to be putting together a process for women for this Taurus North Node that's coming in, so people can really get focused, because this is going to be a challenging time. It's going to be an intense time. It's going to be a survival time as well, around aligning ourselves with what we are looking to manifest, and coming into the Isis energy. So then going into the fourth moon, self-existing moon, around Libra and Scorpio time, and the time of our ancestors, Halloween, where the veil is at its thinnest, and the time for death and rebirth. And now, of course, we go into Red Overtone, which we've been in for 28 days now. Mastery of the emotional story. And that's crucial now, to understand what your emotional story is, your mum's story and your matriarchal lineage, and how you have been living it ancestrally, and how you are here to heal it, transcend it, become clear of it, and come into the rhythm in the next moon beginning tomorrow. So, as I said, tomorrow we have got the red moon energy of Mercury. We've also got White Dog is connected to that, an ancestral story. And we have got Mars going into Sagittarius as well. Just let me get my notes. Remember all of this. Yes, so we've got Mercury going into Capricorn, Mars, which is currently in Scorpio, so it has been wielding the sword of truth and editing those old storylines, so cutting things out. So if you've been making a vision board, which I know a few people have, around changing what they want to manifest, it's a good time to do it at this time of year as well, to really start to focus on what you want to create at this dark time. Darkest before dawn. So as that Mars energy, which Mars is Red Skywalker and White World Bridger, they're very significant as creating heaven on earth. So we've been we're wrapping up that completion of Red Skywalker and White World Bridger energy in this 52-day process. So what needed to die so that we can live? How do we create heaven on earth? Both of those ruled by Mars. And of course, we have got Venus about to go retrograde on the day after the full moon in Gemini. So again, when you look at how all of these planets tie in with the Mayan calendar as well, it literally is mind-blowing. So I think I'm going to leave that for today. Mars in Sagittarius crosses the South Node on Wednesday, which will be day 2, which will be White World Bridger, of course, and a portal day. So again, South Node in Sagittarius, the old Akashic story for me, because this is my North Node, and if you've got North Node in Gemini, the South Node in Sagittarius, wherever that is in your chart, that's your past life story as well. And so every 9 years, we'll encounter our past life story transits. So for all of you who've got North Node in Scorpio, then this Taurus North Node is going to be very interesting for you as well, because it's going to bring up all your past life stuff ready to be healed. Is there anything else that I want to say at this point? No, I think I will be making a video in the next couple of days for Red Serpent, so I'll say more about that then. If you have joined me before for 52-day process and you'd like to engage with this one, then please do get in touch over the next couple of days so that I can map code for you. Or if you're a newbie and you'd like to do that, then please do get in touch as well. I'm very limited on what I can do at the moment in terms of number of people, because this is hugely in depth and it's just going deeper and deeper at the moment. So with every 52-day process, I'm just uncovering more exciting ways to really get to the heart of what our personal story is, so that we can become more conscious, become more aware. Remember, the conscious awareness is about yourself and your own personal story more than anything else. The more that you become an expert on this, you'll start to see the patterns, you'll start to think, oh wow, here it comes again. You'll see it literally. Remember, we're in this holograph, we're in this mystery school. It's so grounding to work in this way, because whilst all the storm is going on outside, we are able to come into our center and we are able to recognize, what is this for me? It also, if you're using this with emotional freedom technique, then you can be really working on a deep level on yourself, and you just go deeper and deeper. So you start to really get to the roots of where these stories were formed in your childhood. You understand specific events that triggered maybe how you're feeling emotional today, angry or anxious or sad. And then you can work on that and with EFT, and you can let that energy out, let that old story out, let wherever you're stuck in some way, you can clear that. And I offer you, that is what this time is about. So we're becoming very consciously aware as conscious dreamers of how our thoughts, which are electric, create our magnetism, which is the emotion that we add to the thoughts, These manifest our day-to-day experience. So the more that we learn how to change our mind, to literally take control of our mind, whenever it's offering these thoughts, it's because there's an old story there to be healed. Whenever we get triggered emotionally, it's always because there's an amygdala story there just waiting to be cleared. And when you personally learn how to do that for yourself on a daily basis, your life starts to change, then the whole world changes through you changing your personal story. Once people really start to grasp this, this is what this is all about. This is what astrology is all about. This is what we're here for at this time. And this week, in particular, the astrology leading up to this full moon is about how we change that mindset, how we change those thoughts, how we change how we believe our story about ourselves, and how that is just playing all the time with other people in our particular circle of influence, in our holograph. And so we can then focus on changing our DNA, because this next 13-day process, that's what it's all about. And if you haven't tried tapping on anything to do with feeling stressed, anxious, please do check it out. emofree.com is Gary Craig's original website. I've been doing it for 14 years. It's changed my life, and it's a great tool to have in your toolbox at this time of end of times. So the more tools that you can get at this time to help you let go and come into peace, I think it's just where it's at. So I wish you an amazing journey, in particular this week, and I'll be back with a Red Serpent video. Lots of love to you all. Hope you have an amazing going in to the centre. Bye for now.